Hi, and welcome to How Humans Heal. I'm Dr. Donnie Wilson, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about HPV or human papilloma virus and how it is that toxins and toxin exposure is making you susceptible to this virus. Now, the reason I want to point this out is because most times when we hear about HPV virus, we hear about how we're exposed to the virus. And yes, there are many types of HPV virus that we're exposed to through sexual activity. However, the important focus I find is to look at what's making us susceptible to the HPV virus. And that's because the studies show that most all of us as humans, men and women around the world, most all of us are exposed to this virus at some point in our life. That means we all have it in our environment, and our bodies are all having to learn how to protect us from the HPV virus. It's not just about avoiding sex or avoiding the virus. That's not going to be the solution. In order to solve the situation, we need to focus on what's making us susceptible to this virus. Why is it that one person who's exposed to HPV virus becomes susceptible to cancer risk, whereas another person exposed to the HPV virus does not end up with cancer risk? That's where I put my attention and my focus and my research. And that's where I started looking into toxins as one of the main reasons that some of us are more susceptible to the HPV virus. So I want to go into detail about that today. There's many factors that can make us susceptible to HPV virus and the risk for abnormal cells and cancer in various areas of the body. But we want to specifically look today at how toxin exposure and what are those toxins and what is it about them that makes us susceptible and what can we do about it so that you can actually start to feel empowered about your ability day to day to make a difference and decrease your risk associated with HPV and actually get the HPV virus to test negative and to leave you alone so you don't have to be in such a state of fear about this virus by becoming empowered about what you can do about it. Okay, so let's talk about the ways that toxins make us susceptible to this virus. And just to clarify, when I'm referring to toxins, there's a bunch of different things that fit into that category. There are some things that maybe we all are exposed to or more frequently exposed to. For example, if we're not choosing to eat organic foods, then we're being exposed to pesticides in our foods. Yes, those count as a toxin. There's also toxins in our water supply very often. And especially if you're drinking water out of plastic bottles or your food is in plastic containers, you're also being exposed to plastic. And it's well known that we're exposed to microplastics all the time in our environment, and they get into our bodies and they stay in our bodies for years. Some of these toxins in our environment can stay in our body for more than 30 years, including different toxins that come from perfumes or anything that has a fragrance, as well as parabens, which are often in personal care products and lotions and things like that we put on our skin and absorb right to our skin into our bodies. And those substances or chemicals in personal care products, in our water, in our air, can actually be very disruptive to our body. So I'm going to go into detail about how it is that these chemicals cause trouble that makes us susceptible to HPV. But first, there's also on the possibility list of toxins, mold toxins. And a lot of times people don't realize they're getting exposed to mold, but when we are exposed to molds, especially certain types of molds, they let out these invisible toxins that can get into our bodies and stay in our bodies for decades. So if you have lived in a home or apartment or you worked in a building where there was water damage or you ever saw mold, then that's possible that there's mold toxins still in your body affecting you today. There's also something called glyphosate, known as Roundup, which is often used as an herbicide in landscaping that also can get stuck in our human bodies and disrupt our internal systems and make us susceptible to HPV. Also, on this list of potential toxins, I would even consider things that we consume, such as refined sugar, acts like a toxin in our bodies, and so does alcohol, or higher intake of alcohol as a beverage can be toxic to our body. So let's go into thinking about how this is that these things act as toxins and how it is they can be so disruptive and making us susceptible to HPV. So one of the first ways, and I have 7 for you, one of the first ways is that when we're exposed to a lot of different toxins, it overwhelms our liver. Our liver is one of our main ways to detoxify, right? The job of a human liver is to metabolize toxins, to put them into a less toxic form, and then have them go out through the bile and out through the stool to get out of our bodies. So if we're exposed to a high amount of toxins, our liver can actually get overwhelmed, and it has only so much it can process at a given time in any day. So if we are exposed to a lot of toxins, it ends up overwhelming our liver, and then it's not as able to do all of its other jobs as well, including detoxification of estrogen. And as women, we, of course, have estrogen being detoxified, and men, too, have estrogen to be detoxified in the liver every day. So something that is as essential as detoxifying estrogen is not going to be working as well when our liver is overwhelmed by other toxins from our environment. So that's one, is that we're overwhelming our liver. And if the liver is not able to help us detoxify, those toxins go floating around through our bloodstream into our cells where they can cause more damage. So let's look at that. What kind of damage is being caused by these toxins that are not getting metabolized well, and then they end up going and circulating around our body? Well, the second issue, the second way that toxins make us susceptible to HPV is that they deplete our nutrients, including our antioxidants, which are actually what help protect our cells from toxins, right? So if our liver is busy processing all these toxins and our cells are busy trying to protect us from all these toxins, we end up using up our B vitamins and our antioxidants, things like vitamin C, zinc, selenium, glutathione, alpha lipoic acid. These are all nutrients or antioxidants in our body. And almost no matter how much we consume, right? We could be drinking huge amounts of juices and antioxidants every day, but if our body is so busy using up all of our antioxidants just to fend off the toxins, we don't have enough nutrients and antioxidants to make healthy cells and protect ourselves from a virus like HPV. So that's the second reason why toxins are an important place to look when you're trying to protect yourself from HPV. The third is that toxins end up damaging our cells by increasing oxidative stress, inflammation, through what is known as a cell danger response. So what happens is when we have all of these toxins, they're triggering what's called oxidative stress. The antioxidants we were just talking about help counteract the oxidative stress. But as we become depleted in antioxidants, now there's more and more oxidative stress, more and more inflammation, and more of this, that our body trying to protect us. And that's what's called a cell danger response. As there's more and more of this going on in our tissue, in our cells, that's what then is known to set us up for abnormal cells and cancer cells. And so it's the quantity and length of time of exposure to toxins that ends up making us susceptible to a virus like HPV, causing abnormal cells or cancer. So we need to get the toxins out and help protect ourselves in order to prevent the issues with HPV. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4 is that toxins cause something called leaky gut. Leaky gut is when the intestinal cells are not as healthy as they should be. And we know from research that pesticides and these other toxins that I mentioned, including toxins from mold, cause leaky gut. They cause damage to the intestinal cells. And when we have damage to our intestinal cells, we don't digest our food well. So now we're not even absorbing our nutrients well from our food. No matter what we're eating, we're not digesting and absorbing. And our foods ending up triggering more inflammation. Now we have more inflammation and more oxidative stress coming from our digestion because the toxins have caused leaky gut and damaged our intestinal cells. Number 5 is that toxins disrupt our gut bacteria. And studies show that when we disrupt our gut bacteria, that also disrupts our vaginal bacteria or vaginal microbiome. And when we have disrupted gut biome and vaginal biome, we become more susceptible to HPV. So now this virus has all this ability to cause trouble, to cause abnormal cells, because we don't have our healthy bacteria to protect us. Number 6 is these toxins disrupt our hormones. All different hormones. They're known as what's called an endocrine disruptor, which means these toxins disrupt our hormones. So it's hard enough to keep our hormones in balance when we're just under stress as a human. But when we have toxin exposure, it's even harder to keep our hormones in balance. We end up with imbalanced thyroid, insulin, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, you name it. All the hormones become askew. And when the hormones are askew, including cortisol, it ends up perpetuating everything else we've talked about. When hormones are out of balance, we end up with more digestive issues, more immune system issues, more overwhelm with the liver. Everything becomes more difficult when the hormones are out of balance, including more likelihood of susceptibility to HPV. I've done a lot of detoxes over the years, and many of them made me feel a lot worse. Not only that, but I've had a lot of patients come in and tell me how after doing a detox, they have a stomach ache and headache and they can't sleep and they're feeling anxious. And I'm like, I can't just recommend that my patients do a program that's going to make them feel worse. So I finally decided to design my own detox program. It's a 14-day detox program that's not like other detox programs out there in several ways. One is that I'm focused on helping you to get the toxins out in a safe and effective way using nutrients, antioxidants, and supporting our natural detoxification pathways in the body. Also, I'm helping you to decrease your exposure to toxins by learning the ways that you've been exposed to toxins and how to change your day-to-day lifestyle to decrease your toxins over time. And I'm helping you to look not just at chemical environmental toxins, but also emotional and energetic toxicity. And yes, it's possible to accomplish all of this in 14 days. I have so many patients who have done the 14-day detox and report back to me how much better they feel. And I think it's also because I help you to know what to eat. You are getting adequate food that tastes good, plus protein shakes that I developed that are good for your body, that your body knows how to use these nutrients and take them in and use them to help you safely detoxify without feeling worse. Also, I help you to balance your blood sugar levels, get better sleep, and introduce things like meditation, biofeedback, and other types of stress recovery into your day-to-day routine. So I just am so excited about it. I want to make sure you know about this 14-day detox. I'm going to put the link. You can find it at drdani.com/detox-program. But I'll also put the link below so you can find the 14-day detox program at drdani.com. I look forward to guiding you through this detox so that you can actually feel better on your way to better health. And number 7 is that these toxins disrupt our immune function. So here, and this may resonate most, is we need our immune system to protect us from HPV, right? We need our immune system to fend this virus off. But if the toxins are disrupting our ability of our immune system to do that, now we become more susceptible to the virus because our immune system can't protect us. And it's well established that toxins, all the ones that I mentioned, including there's a huge amount of research on several of these toxins, including mold toxins and how they disrupt our immune function. So then we become more susceptible to this virus, causing abnormal cells. You see what I mean? So these are all the ways that toxin exposure is making us more susceptible to HPV. So here again, it's not so much about how you were exposed to the virus. That's already done. That's all already over. That already happened. And we can't go back in time and change that past exposure. But what we can do is we can help you focus on getting rid of the toxins, on safely detoxifying. And the more we can help your body to safely and effectively detoxify, the better your body can protect you from HPV, which is exactly why I include all of this in the work that I do with my patients one-on-one and in my HPV Say Goodbye to HPV program and in the 14-day detox that I developed. The 14-day detox is like a way to fast track your healing process for getting rid of HPV. So patients who do the Say Goodbye to HPV program and they also decide to do this 14-day detox, what they report and what we see is that they end up getting rid of HPV even faster than patients who don't do the 14-day detox. So let me explain to you why that is. It's really also about doing a detox in a the right way, in a way that's going to be beneficial, right? There's a lot of detoxes out there. There's a lot of cleanses. You can find so many. But the thing is that I've had patients doing all different detoxes over the years. And a lot of times they actually end up feeling worse doing a detox. And then they call me and they are like, Dr. Donnie, please help me. Now I feel worse than I did before I did the detox. So here's the key is it's not just about doing any detox. Believe me, I know there's a lot of detoxes out there and I've done them myself and felt worse myself. And that's why it's really important for me to share with you how do you know is the right way to detox that's actually going to help you fend off HPV successfully. Okay, so a couple key factors that I'm going to be sharing here. And then I also encourage you to go listen. I have 2 detox masterclasses on my website. So if you want to learn more exactly what I suggest to make sure you're doing a detox that's going to help you be successful, then please do watch those masterclasses and find out more about the detox that I developed. So here's the thing. When we think about detoxifying, we usually just think about getting the toxins out. And yes, that's a key factor. That's one of our key goals with a detox is how do we make sure we get the toxins that are in you out of you, right? Okay, number one, we want to get the toxins out. However, to me, in a detox, it's also important to think about how do we prevent toxins from continuing to come in, right? It's about what toxins are you currently being exposed to that we can decrease, right? Because if you're continually being exposed to more toxins and we keep trying to get them out, it's just like we're going in circles. We're never getting anywhere, right? So we need to be reducing your toxin exposure while helping your body detoxify safely and effectively. And here's the problem is a lot of people just try to detoxify, but they're still getting exposed to toxins, or they try to detoxify, but they're not doing it in an effective way. And so those things are common reasons why people don't actually get the benefit of a detox. Also, we need to be thinking about not just these physical chemical toxins that I've mentioned, but I encourage you to also think of other forms of toxins or toxicity in your life. That this is a whole nother level of a detox is to even have it encompass an emotional, energetic level. Are there toxic experiences in your life, toxic relationships, toxicity energetically that could be also affecting you? And to bring that into your detox, that it's not just about detoxing on a physical level, but also on an emotional and energetic level. And so I want to invite you to think about a detox in with those three main goals, not just about getting the toxins out of your body, if that makes sense. So just opening your mind in that way. And again, make sure you go learn more about exactly what I encourage you to include in a detox, what to make sure in your detox and what to make sure is not in a detox in order to prevent, to avoid feeling worse and being set back by a detox experience. We need, for example, to make sure that you're getting adequate nutrients to replace the nutrients that were depleted. We need to make sure that your natural detoxification methods in the body are functioning. For example, our bodies naturally detoxify through bowel movements, through breathing, through sweating. And so we need to be supporting those natural ways that our bodies detoxify. If we don't make sure we support our hydration and our bowel regularity and our breath work, and then we're not gonna be safely and effectively detoxifying. You see what I mean? So these are things that I include in my masterclass and in my detox program and in the Say Goodbye to HPV program to make sure that you all are effectively getting the toxins out. And then I teach you how to make sure that you're not getting continually exposed to more toxins. And in fact, one thing that I do when I work with patients one-on-one who are concerned about toxins is we can run specific tests to identify if you're wondering, hey, have I been exposed to environmental toxins? Do I have glyphosate? Do I have mold toxins? Do I have other types of toxins in my body? We can run specific testing to find out. There's urine testing, that's usually the most accurate testing for different kinds of toxins. And those are tests that I can run when I meet with people one-on-one as patients. And then when we get the test results back, I can explain to you what that means. What do the results mean? And not only that, but how do we safely and effectively help you detox those specific toxins? Because the thing is that when we see a specific type of toxin, we have to go a certain protocol to address and remove that toxin from your body. So there's general detoxification, which you can start with. But if you know that you have a specific toxin, let's say mold toxins, we're going to need to go down a mold toxin protocol to help you to effectively get the mold toxins out of your body without making you feel worse. And so that's why it can be helpful to do specific testing to know exactly what toxins we're dealing with so I can guide you through that specific protocol. And what I find is, to me, it's absolutely possible to detoxify and get those toxins out safely, effectively, so that you can then move forward in your life without those toxins affecting you in those ways we just discussed. So now your digestion can heal, your immune system can heal, your hormones can rebalance, your nutrients come back online, and you start to be able to protect yourself from viruses like HPV. And then going forward, you know how to avoid those toxins so that this doesn't happen again. So those are the ways that toxins can make you susceptible to HPV, and more about how to identify a detox that's going to be really fitting and helping you to get the toxins out of your body and make sure that they don't come back in again. So I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I'm really looking forward to staying in touch with you. I'll put the links to the Detox Masterclass. I'll also put the links to my HPV, Heal HPV Worldwide Workshop and Say Goodbye to HPV 12-week program. Because if you're listening to this video, that I know that you are thinking, I've got to get this HPV out of my body, out of my life once and for all. And that's why I've put these resources together for you, because I've observed over time, these are the things that help my patients be most effective at getting HPV to negative and to stay negative. And I want you to be able to have access to that information as well. So definitely subscribe to my newsletter and to this podcast so you are sure to hear the very next episode of How Humans Heal. Thanks again for joining me today.
Thanks for listening to How Humans Heal. If you liked this episode, leave a rating and a review. And for more resources, visit drdonnie.com.